While you're queuing to vote and you're considering who should I elect for my women rep position or your popular MCA or governor, one thing you're probably not wondering is how can I keep them accountable? At the heart of today's motion is something we're referring to as contractual agreements. And the motion reads, publicly elected officials should be subject to contractual terms to ensure fulfillment of their promises. Publicly elected officials should be subject to contractual terms to ensure fulfillment of their promises. Debating with us today is Jamhuri High School versus Apostolic Carmel. Team proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes. All the best.
We live in a world whereby fairness is promoted. We need to live in a world whereby we have stable and good leaders. And for that to happen, we need to affirm contractual fulfillment. My good name is Thomas Otieno from the Duke of Gloucester, here to strongly propose the motion that states publicly elected officials should subject to contractual terms to ensure fulfillment of their promise. First and foremost, I will start by defining key terms. What is contractual terms? Contractual terms refers to the specific provision and conditions agreed upon by 2 or more parties. What is a promise? A promise is a verbal or written commitment made by one party, constituent of contractual terms, or assurance to perform a certain action to fulfill a particular obligation. First and foremost, before I start outlining my points, we're going to mainly focus on 4 key areas, which are definitions, scope and purpose, parties involved, and expected performance or delivery. To my first point, we are going to be having accountability. What do I mean by accountability? Literally, we know that for a leader to be given a specific role in a specific body of government, we need to see that this person gets to fulfill their promise. And how do we do that? We do that by assessing the programs that have been outlined. Because remember, these leaders are not acting only based on what they think, because there is protocol that is put on place on the basis of helping them to govern things and to put them in place. This one can also be used as an assessment to these leaders to test whether if the leaders were correctly chosen, if they were biased, or if they were people whom literally deserve the exact position. Secondly, transparency. You see, according to www.alpharesearchers.com, it clearly states that we have leaders who literally focus on mostly building up the nation, but in their own terms. So you see, while putting these things in place, putting a person being transparent literally means we are going to be subjecting them to the basis of making them ensuring that they do their part in promoting economic development. How do I mean by economic development? You see, once a person has stepped immediately into office, we are going to be focusing on key areas such as provision of social amenities, giving children school fees, giving good public health, and also promoting job opportunities for people who are literally unemployed. So, as team proposition, what we clearly bring to you is that we stand in promoting contractual terms, because these contractual terms literally benefit us all by helping us to know the leaders that literally we have chosen. Also, as an example, as I wind up, we have a country like Germany. You see, Germany has promoted contractual terms, which has made 4 good states to develop efficiently. A town like Munich, Cologne, and also Berlin. You see, these places have developed because they've been able to see the transparency that have been put forward by the leaders themselves. And so with that, I'll allow the second and my third speaker to emphasize more on the motion. And with that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Team opposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
What a beautiful day it is. What a beautiful day it is. My people, what a beautiful day it is. Don't you think? I am standing here as the enlightener of your day with a purpose. Roses are red, violets are blue. I am your source for my people. You have no clues. Nida O'Meal from the great Apostolic Carmel girls, opposing the spontaneous motion that states publicly elected leaders should be subject to contractual terms as a fulfillment of their promises. What do I think about these contractual terms? Are they necessary? Are they? Okay. Let's start defining key terms. A contract is simply an agreement between us, the people, and the publicly elected leaders, which is basically two parties. As I asked before, are they necessary? I don't think so. You viewed this person's manifesto, and yet you're going to subject them to another contractual term? Come on. You don't trust your people. First and foremost, my point, lack of funds. Kenyans lack funds, and that's why you see our individuals of power are out here borrowing funds. For example, China. According to Investopedia, Kenya has borrowed approximately 7 billion Kenya shillings. How are you going to subject me to a contractual term if there are no funds? How will I build roads, hospitals, and schools for you people? How will we be fulfilling the SDG number 16, which clearly states peace, justice, and social institution? How? Food for thought, don't you think? Contracts. Another thing about contracts. Are they really implemented? I don't think so. Look at it like this. Each and every time someone is put in as a publicly elected leader, there is always a contract there for them. But they're not implemented. Why? 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 Because as Kenyan citizens, we are bribed. We vote for these people. We vote for them. And therefore, there is no implementation of contracts. So what's the need of these contracts? Again, food for thought. As I said before, you voted for this person. Don't you trust them? It's all based on trust, my people. Listen, it's based on trust. So as an opposer, I don't think we should subject these people to contracts. It's just a waste of time. I drop the proverbial gavel, and I hope you take in my key points. I rest my case there, but I'll be back for you. Thank you.
Team Proposition, second speaker, you have 3 minutes.
I'm going to build a house for you. Do you know what? I'm going to pay the school fees for your children. Do you know, judges? I'm going to give you 6,000. 6,000 every month. Those are the promises they give. Like she sings, so do they sing their promises. And for that matter, we really need, she asks, why do we need? Do we really need them? Yeah, we need them. And I'll give you reasons why we need them. According to www.theinsider.com, we have Kenya being ranked as the fourth country as the most corrupt country. So you want to tell me that without contractual terms, we are still going to tackle corruption? I don't think so. I think, and we believe as the team proposition, that yes, we need these terms, we need these obligations for politicians to be subjected to them. One, we will end corruption. That is for sure. How? When I, as a politician, I promise you that, I'll pay the school fees for your kids. I can come next time and defy those words without a contractual term. Same to any promise. Same to any promise. Anyone can defy without a contractual term. And that is why we need a contractual term to actually increase transparency. Like our first speaker said, that we need to increase transparency. And with transparency, it comes development. He talked of a town in Germany, Munich, having been developed just because leaders decided to come together and be transparent using contractual terms. I'll move on to our main case. Our main case, we wish to tell you what entails these contractual terms. First, the leader should be able to actually define the promises. 2, give the purpose. And 3, perform. I insist, and I beg my apostolic to actually listen to this, perform. So we need performance. And we cannot have performance without a contractual term. With that, I make our stand clear that yes, we need these contractual terms. With that, it has been I, Alpha Kariuki, from the prestigious and great Jamhuri High School. Thank you.
Team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Even without my glasses, I can still see how visionless the points from my proposing side are. My name is Zaria Claire, and from the Apostolic Carmel, and I am against the motion that publicly elected officials should be subjected to contractual terms to ensure fulfillment of their promises. And here is why. You say accountability, but how sure are you that these individuals of power cannot forgo these terms and conditions? I mean, they are in power. We as citizens came out over the electoral years to vote for these individuals of power. But how many times have we had the maandamano simply because these leaders are deemed corrupt? I mean, we can't end corruption, but we can minimize it. So in more ways than one, as much as we want to hold these leaders accountable, how sure are we that we can hold them accountable?
Team proposition have been asked, how can they guarantee oversight of these contractual terms? And team opposition have been asked to justify, is it lack of funds or mismanagement of funds, considering that Kenya's GDP is ranked one of the highest in the continent? Team proposition, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions.
What a beautiful day it is, sang a beautiful voice. Now, you see, what a beautiful day it will actually be if these judges actually do get their 6,000 shillings. What a beautiful day it would be if people would actually get free education like we are promised by these leaders. You see, there's no way that this can happen without assurance. Therefore, people do need assurance. Now, my name is Angel Tukuza from the great Jamhuri High School, here to propose this motion that states that publicly elected officials should subject to contractual terms to ensure fulfillment of their promises. First of all, what actually are the benefits of using contractual terms? You see, we'll have consistency in economic development. One will find that there is need to prove of whatever has been written in the contract. Therefore, the person will need to do everything in their power to ensure that economic development has been established as they are written in the contracts. You see, this encourages a system whereby I say I'll do this, and I do it, and I have to do it, I'm obligated to do it. There's no way that I can say I'll do it, then come later on and deny that I didn't say this. We need assurance, leads to a consistency in economic development. That also leads to another point, which is quality of leadership and services. By actually doing what you've promised as stated in the contract, you will provide these leaders, publicly elected leaders, will provide us with quality leadership and services. How? We will find that they specify things, and every contract has definitions of things that is written over there. Now, a government, or rather a public elected official, will have to adhere to whatever is in the contract. How? Not just anyhow, not just recklessly. These are people's lives at stake. Therefore, they will have to ensure that there is quality leadership and services. It will also lead to aid in getting rid of incompetent leaders. Because there's no way that as citizens, we can come and see that a leader is not fulfilling what they have promised to do and just let them stay there. We will change the system, we will change the government in the entire world. Therefore, we will remove and get rid of incompetent leaders. Now, a question was posed to us on who will oversee the contracts in matters of contractual terms. The answer is simple. It is you. There's no one else to oversee. Because why? You are the one who elected these officials. You are the one who needs to oversee. You see, by you actually overseeing, this creates transparency. Because A contract will provide clear frameworks on public to evaluate an elected official's program. It will make it easier to access whether they have fulfilled their obligations. Therefore, it is you. Is it necessary? Yes. Yes, it is. Have they been implemented? Yes, they are. We can see an easy place such as Mexico. Some Mexican politicians voluntarily signed commitment contracts that outlined specific promises and goals. Therefore, my people, we want to see the change in the world. We are the ones to change. Where will the change come from? Through contractual terms. Thank you. That was my question.
Team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
I've had one of my brothers ask me a question. Why are we saying a country like Kenya, which is considered to be among the richest countries in Africa, to have lack of funds? This is quite so evident. We have lack of funds. Let's take, for instance, the year 2019. COVID-19 started in 2019, and it pushed us to a pandemic in the year 2020. The government opted to seek debts from other countries to cope with COVID-19, a simple pandemic. I know it was not just a simple pandemic, but we didn't have the funds. Actually, let's just take for the simplest example. In January 2023, this year actually, if we had the funds, what did the government actually say? We don't have money to buy food when Kenyans were pushed to poverty because of the drought, because of lack of planning. We don't have funds. This is so evident. It's so evident. We don't have funds to actually sustain even ourselves. January, people died because of drought. And you still want to tell me we have funds? They said they don't have the money. And actually, why should I contract this politician when circumstances do change? Clearly, circumstances do change, as I've said. I am contracted. I gave a promise. I said, Unga, I'll give free Unga. I said I'll build a school. I said I'll build a road. But as circumstance changes, for instance, I've given an example as COVID-19. Will I really not consider my contract and go help the people? Because my contract clearly states I am supposed to fulfill my promises, not attend to other matters, not other side issues. So imagine me focusing on the contract alone. Somebody out there is suffering. COVID-19 happened. Somebody is suffering of the pandemic. If I was to if the contract was there, a politician decides I'm focusing on the contract. Because if I do not fulfill the contract, I have severe, I repeat, severe punishment. Is it really logical? Is it really logical to actually implement this contract? My dear brothers, think about it. And if I actually was to agree with you, then we'd both be wrong.
Team proposition, you have 1 minute to make your closing remarks.
You see, I forgot to formally introduce myself. Scarlet Master, caution in red. People, let me tell you something. These girls literally are inventors of poverty. Here's why. Here's why. Literally, the second speaker came and said that these leaders are people who are in power and have the choice to do what they wish. But literally, they forgot that I clearly stated that these leaders are people who are governed by protocols on how to direct a country in an economic development state. Also, I would come by saying, the third speaker, she came and said that German people died of drought. So I pose a question. Do you want to tell me that people who live in those developed towns are the walking dead? People, let me tell you something. If you choose me, your child will get to have proper school fees. You choose me, you get to live a sustainable, well-developed life. And with that, I conclude by saying that we as team opposition clearly agree that we should implement these structural contractual terms in order to promote sustainable economic development, to remove corruption, and most of all, for us to have better living improved standards. And with that, Bumblebee out. Thank you.
Team opposition, you have 1 minute to make your closing remark.
My audience, my worthy opponents, before you come talking about my fellow opposer, her name is Venus, and she sees brighter and further than you. My respected judges, my worthy opponent here told you she'll give you 6,000. I'll give you 10 if you don't subject me to a contractual term. We can never end corruption in our country, and you know it, don't you? Do you? Yes, we can never end corruption. Remember, we are Kenyans. As I said before, contracts are there. They are just not implemented. You call us, I don't know what you said. Can you remind me, you called us what of poverty? I don't remember. He said, inventors of poverty. Well, I'll tell you, stop being visionless like your government. My audience, please stand with me and let us oppose this motion. Join me and let us bind together. Thank you.
Debating is a battle of wits and not fists. So avoid throwing negative jabs at each other. That one I repeat. You can attack, but in a humorous way. That is allowed. So let's check that out. Then secondly, to all the people who are going to present here, there is nothing as beautiful as a confident debater who has statistics and figures which are well sourced. That gives you an automatic kicker positively. So ensure that for both teams, we were expecting to get more examples for the proposers where contractual terms have worked. Of course, you briefly mentioned about Germany and Mexico, but you could have done more justice to bring to the light or inform the audience on where these things have worked. To the opposers, you could have given us more examples on where performance has been noted effectively without contracts. That could have been the ingredient to make your meal stand out. All the best.
So, how's the debate for you guys?
It was beyond expectations, but again, I didn't expect what I did and what I have seen from the opponents. But all in all, it was an amazing debate.
We did not expect such a motion. In fact, we thought that we'd actually be the ones proposing. So it was a bit last minute, but I think we tried our best and we learned a lot from them. And we had a good competition. It was not boring. It was fun for us. We felt challenged by them. And we are grateful that they were our opponents. Yeah.
The experience was really fantastic. Actually, really liked it. I'm looking forward to other debates.
We can discuss all day when it comes to political mandate, but allow me to crown the winners of this debate. And the judges have awarded Apostolic Carmel girls with 65%. A round of applause, please. And the judges have awarded Jamhuri High School with 67%. A round of applause, please, for Jamhuri High School. And the winners of this debate are Jamhuri High School. A round of applause, please, for our winners. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it is goodbye from us here. For more of this type of content, please check our social media handles on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Instagram at The Debate Circle. And until next time, it's goodbye.